Hey Houseguests, welcome to today's BB14 updates and spoilers. Our Houseguest of the day, I went all Michael Phelps, is the Sarah 1985. Yay! Alright, so if you missed last night's episode, you kind of missed a lot. There was no eviction and the coaches are back in the game. So it's like a reset kind of thing. And Boogie was the only coach that didn't vote to reset the game. So that tells me that Boogie must have thought that Frank was safe because Frank is like his Will Kirby. So he would not have not voted to reset if he thought that Frank was going to go home. And so far, Dan is the only one owning up to pressing that button. That's pretty weak of Brittany and Janelle to be like, I didn't want to come back into this game. I don't find that believable considering they've been talking about it for weeks. Anyway, the HOH competition. It was an endurance, and here are the results. Well, not quite yet, but it was the whole tilting wall thing. You gotta hang on. There was freezing cold rain, and there was some seagull poop. But it wasn't real poop. It was like paint or something. So Boogie was the first one off, followed shortly after by Jen and then Joe. And then a little while later, Ashley actually fell off, and then Dan was right behind her. And then Frank a little while after. And Boogie kept complaining the whole time from the sidelines that people were like hooking their elbows onto the bar. And he was like, is this fair? Oh, it's not fair. So he was like talking into his microphone, asking the producers about it. So then the producers came on and they were like, it's not against the rules. We just warned you guys because it's a safety concern. So you were allowed to hook your elbows onto the bar for the record. And Shane and Will jumped off at about the same time, and then Janelle a few minutes later, which means it came down to Ian, Brittany, and Danielle. And they were on there for over 3 hours. So they were all like, yeah, you're both safe, blah, 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 just jump off. So Ian ends up coming in third place, and then it was down to Brittany and Danielle, and Brittany knows she's safe with Danielle, so she jumped off, and Danielle is the new HOH. And there are no have-nots this week. There usually aren't have-nots during endurance because they don't want to put them through a competition the next day for that. It usually ends in pizza. So Boogie found out that Frank was leaving, and he found out actually during the live show. Dan was like super giddy, and as he was passing Boogie in the hallway to the diary room, he was like, oh, the twist just saved your player. And Boogie was like, what? But we'll get there. So Danielle got her HOH room, and she had plenty of snacks. She had a doll, an Alabama jersey, pictures, a Jason Aldean CD, and a letter from her mom, so that's nice. And meanwhile, Janelle is trying to get Boogie to team up with her. That's kind of funny because this whole time she's been like, oh, I'm not working with Boogie, like he's my sworn enemy. And it seems like she actually really wants to work with him. I think she feels pretty lonely in this game right now because she already screwed things up with Brittany. So Boogie, I don't think he's fallen for it. He is pissed at everyone except for Frank. Seriously, everyone, even his former players like Ian and Jen. He's like, Ian is a worthless piece of crap. After Ian stayed up there for 3 hours and Boogie was the first one out. I think that's kind of funny. And he said Jen is pretty much worthless too. And he's pretty pissed at Dan, Danielle, and Will specifically because Will and Danielle would have been the votes that sent Frank home. And he's all angry that they were about to pull one over on him. Guess what? That's the game. You really think they were going to tell you your player's going? No. So there is a possible alliance in the works. It looks like Dan, Danielle, Brittany, Shane, and Ian may team up. The first four definitely want to work together, but they're a little bit on the fence about Ian because they're not sure if he's ready to cut ties with Mike Boogie yet, but they want to test him out for like a week and see if it's worth it. So they just had nominations. That's why this video is up so late, because I wanted to wait until after so I could tell you guys. And Frank and Will are on the block. I think this is a good move for Danielle. The target this week is definitely Frank because they want to weaken Mike Boogie but not take him out yet. And the power veto competition is tomorrow, and I think if they end up using the POV, Boogie will probably be the replacement nominee. But let's wait until after to talk about that. So until next time, much love.